Greetings, students, and welcome to the After Class / School podcast. It is I, Professor Phoenix. You know me. I'm cool. Let's talk about something. Today's lesson, as I have decreed, we're going to be talking about that old snake in the grass, monetization. Whether or not it has a place in the video game industry, and whether it crosses the line at any point, which let's be honest, it absolutely does. How is everybody doing this lovely Saturday morning? Oh, it's good to hear. I hear the chorus of your voices, and then I am inspired. Excellent. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this today. Basically, we're going to list all the versions of monetization that we can think of. Then we're going to rank them. And then we're going to see if we can't find a line where it's acceptable to have this type of monetization, or if it's bad all the way through. And I think there is a line, right? I think there is a level of monetization for video games that is acceptable, because at the end of the day, we all want the game to be successful. But we all know that there is a line that is being crossed every single time this happens. So we should define where we think that is, and if maybe there's a gray area upon which we should talk about. So quick question, do you guys want to listen to some music while we do this? Maybe some lo-fi, maybe some FF7 lo-fi, maybe just the lovely sound of my vocals, which are quite soothing. It's basically ASMR every time I talk. I know. And while you decide that, do some music from the Discord. No, I'm not going to play the Megalovania song for the podcast. Background music next? Okay, yeah, let's do that. I'll go ahead and grab some lo-fi then. What is the most efficient means of making money off of YouTube? Off of YouTube? Good question. Merchandise, I would imagine. And sponsorships. Sponsorships obviously are a whole bunch of money. You're going to pay too much attention to the Final Fantasy sounds? That's actually a really good point. Yeah. Oh my god, it's blocking me. I have YouTube Premium. Just because I have ad blocker doesn't mean I should be blocked. Oh my god, hold on guys, hold on. Yeah, I still have ad blockers too. I've whitelisted YouTube because I pay for YouTube Premium because it is honestly pretty cheap, and it's like it's got some perks to it. Plus, every channel that I watch with YouTube Premium, they get a little extra money. Do you know that? Anybody who gets watched by YouTube Premium users gets a little bit extra ad revenue. So I figured, might as well help the people I watch, you know. And I think that's a really good reason to go for it. A little overpriced? Yeah, I mean, for what it is, it's a little overpriced. But I think it's okay. It's not too bad, and I use YouTube every day. And I am a YouTuber, so I might as well. So, okay, let's get back to that lo-fi I had. I am a shareholder in whoever I watch. Please let me pay 150 to pick a song. No, legit. No. I know what you're just going to get me to play Megalovania Pirates or whatever it is. All right. Yeah, let's just get some Zelda lo-fi. That should be fun. Okay. It's the Ultra Kill. Oh, the Ultra Kill. That's right. I haven't listened to that one yet. Equally uncool. All right, this is a bit distracting in the background, so I'm going to minimize that. Cool. All right. So let me go ahead and create a text file for you guys to work with. And we will start listing these things out. Someone turned the metal pipe sound to Megalovania. Everything's been turned to Megalovania, just like Pokey said, yeah. Oh. Duplicate. Come on, OBS, work with me here. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and edit this one. Okay. Lovely. Okay, so first matter of business, let's start listing out all the versions of monetization that we can think about, and then we'll start ranking them. Let's say that level 1 is the most acceptable level of monetization, and then anything below that that's how we'll do it. Just so it's easiest for us to keep track of. All right, so let's do it. Loot boxes. That's the first one everyone thinks of, right? That's a classic. Let's say subscription. That's a classic one. That's how you do most MMORPGs. And just so we're in the same discussion, let's just go ahead and say video game price. How would I call that? Just the base version of a video game you buy for like $60 or $70. Free to play. Pay to play. Pay to win. Pay to win loot boxes. Right. Skins. Skins, yeah. Let's call that skins slash this is a broad category, so let's call it in-game assets. Actually, no, let's call this cosmetics, because that's cosmetics slash aesthetics. You know, the items that are not necessarily supposed to be versions. Paid mod menus? Pay to launch? Is there such a thing as pay to launch? Dear God. Paid game. That's a good way to put it. Actually, let me do that. That's a much better way to put it. DLC. Yep, that's a big one. DLC. Outside funding Patreon ads. Interesting. I don't know if ads would fall under monetization, though. Like, can you fund a video game with ads? Well, I guess... I don't know. That one confuses me. Outside funding. Oh, you're talking like if a YouTuber did like Patreon. I see. Pay to upgrade? That would be weird. Free with ads to fund. I see. So almost like a mobile game. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we do need to start creating caveats. Free to play with ads. That's a big one. That's a mobile game concept, right? In-game currency. That's another big one. $4. There's stuff you can do. Kickstarter, Patreon. I would say Kickstarter definitely applies, but that's like for the making of a game. I would argue for monetization, it has to be for a game that's already out. Because Kickstarter is like, I'm trying to make this game and we're trying to raise money for it, and that's its own bag of cats, right? And then once you have the game, you can use ads to pay for it. Like, mobile games is the perfect example of that. Pulling UFC 4. What's that? Pay to obtain a person's IP address. My bad. Okay, free to play with in-game store, which kind of includes all of it. Oh God, you know what? There is a good example of that. Like 2K, whatever it was for NBA, started showing ads in-game between games, which was just like, that was gross. you couldn't skip the ads unless you knew exactly how to do it. Oh, that pissed me off. Let's think EA. What else has, you know, FIFA done? It's kind of a combination of all that. It's the loot boxes, the paying for Ultimate Team. Oh, I know one. Locked, or limited, playtime. That's another big one. That's Clash of Clans. That's almost Pokemon Go to a degree. You can only play so much for this day, and then you have to wait for real time to pass by. Cosmetics, yeah, we have that with the aesthetics. Pay to play, pay to win. Free to play with ads, free to play with in-game store. What are some of the worst ones? Premium membership? That comes back to subscription. Then we have the subscription model. We have the NFT model. Oh my god. I can't believe I have to include this, but freaking NFTs, bro. Oh. How did that ever become a thing? How are people this insane? Where's my water? Ugh, okay. I think that's a pretty good list. They died so quickly. I feel like this free-to-play with the caveats kind of padding the list because you have free-to-play with everything. That's true. We need a better way to list those, right? I was just thinking about that. We need a better way to list that. So let me take out this one, and then we'll say free to play with additional pricing, with free to play with store, free to play with purchases. Yeah, that's fair. And then we'll just make ads its own category, because that can be applied in any situation. Okay, I think that's a good list. Let's go from here. So I think everyone obviously would say that the one that makes the most sense at the top, what everyone would prefer, obviously, would be free to play. Obviously, if a game is free and there's no caveats to it, that would be the ideal situation for the player. Obviously not for the creator, but there it is. Like any games you play and put online, that's free to play, and you're not expecting anything in return. It's just out there ready to be played. And then we can go for paid game as 2. Because I think that's also, you know, acceptable. You pay to own a game. You should own it. It's your game. There it is. So now the question that lies is, where does subscription lie? Is a subscription less acceptable than a paid game, or is it more acceptable because it's cheaper at the beginning but it's more expensive over a long time? But usually subscription models are tied to games with a lot more content. For example, Final Fantasy XIV or World of Warcraft. Basically any MMORPG goes by this model. For loot boxes, is it with or without buying them? It's if the loot boxes are included, regardless of the situation. Because obviously within each of these is degrees. Like, you could have Overwatch loot boxes. You earn loot boxes by winning matches, or at least you used to. Or you could pay for keys to open loot boxes, like Rocket League. You know, there are different levels to loot boxes, so we have to be a bit broad with it. I think it's fine in third place. I tend to agree. because it has benefits, but it also has caveats. Like in my lifetime, I've paid more for Final Fantasy XIV than I have for most of my games. Because in order to still play it, I have to pay for it. And over time, the longer I play, the more I pay it. Though it's still acceptable, right? Because you're still getting content in return. I'm going to say a quick take, which should be standard. Loot boxes are 100% fine as long as it's only cosmetics. I totally agree. Loot boxes as a mechanic are actually kind of fun. Like, look at the original Overwatch. The original Overwatch was a lot of fun for me because the more you played, the more you got to unlock, and you just got more and more loot boxes, more and more cosmetics. It didn't make the game easier or harder to play. It made it more fun to play. So that was a really great model, and people really enjoyed that. But then when they started locking loot boxes behind, you know, silver keys and gold keys and premium keys and, it's like, oh, you can have this loot box system, but you have to pay for it. That sucked. So loot boxes as a concept should be higher on the list. But what really burns it is, you know, how it can be abused. How can you maximize a game's revenue? Have it not be made with Unity? Truth. To maximize a game's revenue, I mean, if you're greedy, you could implement all of these things, and then you'd have a game everybody hated. But in my opinion, the most successful games, as sad as it is, the most successful games in the world are mobile games. Their models are so profitable. They're free to play, but in order to get additional stuff, you pay little microtransactions. You know, the $1 here, the $2 there. And that's how this all started, right? The bigger video game companies, the AAA, started realizing, holy crap, mobile games are making billions of dollars off of this system. And these games are so much smaller than ours. What if we started implementing these type of things? And that's how we got to where we are now. You should just be able to earn skins and stuff. Right. And then comes the argument, should you just be able to earn currency to buy the stuff you want directly? Like the Fall Guys system, where the more you play, the more tokens you earn, and you can use those to just buy the things you want in the store. At least, I think that was the original version. Okay, so I think let's put cosmetics and aesthetics high up. Because by themselves, I think cosmetics and aesthetics are pretty... Everyone loves cosmetics, right? But I think this needs to come with a caveat. I think buying cosmetics would be the implication here. The amount of money I spent in Clash of Clans is a bit much, but I think it's also fine because I'm supporting a game I like. It's a bit different than games that are just made to sell progress. Yes, that's another good point, because that's how they make their money, right? Clash of Clans creates a system for you to put some money into the game that is free to play to begin with, so you can play a little more and progress a little further. But to a degree that's not egregious. Like, I think most mobile games are actually pretty low on the egregious scale. Because again, they're microtransactions. They're really low, like $1 here, $5, $10 usually at the most. And then we come over to Destiny 2 selling a $20 skin. It's like, I'm gonna F you up, man. Okay. It's hard to rank cosmetics right now because it's like, am I ranking the mechanic or am I ranking the purchase of cosmetics? You know what, I'll start here. I'll start with DLC, and I'll say DLC is, I'm gonna say it's third for now. I think DLCs are slightly more acceptable than subscription models, because if you come out with like a whole expansion of stuff to do and you're selling for it, it's like another part to the game you can sell for it. I think that's acceptable, right? It's a little more acceptable than subscriptions because it's only for that part of the game. Fallout 4 selling a cheap $5 mask and a $2 duffel bag. Oh yeah, that was so dumb. Like, how dare you? Okay. So I'm looking at the cosmetics and the loot boxes part. And I want to split them into earning those with in-game tokens versus earning them for free or earning them with money. But I don't want this list to get too long. So let's just go with the assumption that anything I list here is you're paying for it. Because I think we can all accept that if you are getting cosmetics or loot boxes or in-game currency for free, then that is so acceptable. That's a really great method. But we're trying to list monetization. So we're going to assume with these things listed here that you are paying for them. So in this case, paying for cosmetics and aesthetics would not be good. And the same for loot boxes. League actually had a good discussion about this a while ago, where Riot sold a $200 chroma, different look for existing skin. It's technically less than 200 because loot box, but it was 100%. Technically getting a skin for free with in-game tokens isn't revenue earned by the game. Exactly, yeah. So we'll put that aside and just say, you know, if that's in there for free, that's awesome. You know, that's just, it's part of the game. It's in the paid game category. But when you have to start paying for it, that's when things get bad. So is there anything else I could put above those that is more acceptable? And this is where I think free to play with purchases comes in. I'm going to put this at 5 for now. Because I think everyone agrees inherently that if something is free to play and it has purchasable items, that is an acceptable monetization scheme, because that's how they make their money, right? Because the agreement implicitly is that with a free-to-play game, there will be in-game purchases, and that's how they'll make their money. Whether or not they're egregious or not, that's up to them. I would put that at 5, because the subscription model still gives you everything. You still have the whole game, you just have to renew that every month. But for free-to-play, I think it's less acceptable because it's still taking advantage of the monetization idea of, hey, here's a free game with all this stuff, but we're secretly going to try to manipulate you to buy all this stuff because it'll make us more money. There's an argument to be made, but if which one is more acceptable. Yeah. As a general rule, I think people are okay with that. Fortnite, I think, is acceptable. Oh, I totally forgot. There's another. I just thought of another item. Season Pass / Battle Pass. That is such a common way to make money nowadays, is to create like a season of stuff that you have to pay for to get access to. The Season Pass aggravates me. Woo! Because, first off, you only have a limited time to buy it. Second off, all the content is locked behind the Battle Pass. And while there are some systems that allow you to earn some items during the season, there's always locked content behind the Battle Pass, and it takes so long to unlock this content You have to be playing hundreds of hours to get everything out of a season pass. But it doesn't matter because you're paying all that money up front. You're paying the $15 to the $20 to get this battle pass for the season. It doesn't matter if you get all the content unlocked or not. You've still paid the $15 to $20 from the start. I'm a battle pass hater and I still buy it for League because the value you get is insane. Yeah, and that's the flip side, right? There is a lot of value for battle passes. You're still getting a whole season's worth of content. You have to work for it, but it's still there, right? So that's why it's a little bit more acceptable than other versions. But I think that's a comfortable 6 for now. Yeah. Because it's still a whole crop of content that you have to pay for and you don't necessarily get a guarantee for, but it's still a lot of stuff that tends to be like, hey, this is your content for the season. You have to pay to earn the right to go for it, and then it's up to you to unlock all the stuff. Honestly, I feel like the best version of any battle pass would be to give a player unlimited time to unlock the battle pass once you've purchased it. Hell, probably even just leave it up there for purchase. Just have it. Why put limitations on time for it? Because a person who doesn't purchase, like, say, season 1 content and misses that season now will never be able to get that content. That's egregious, because then you know what they're going to do. They're going to sell that content in the store later for a jacked up price because they know, oh, you missed season 1. Well, here's your option to go buy it at an increased price. But if they had just, I don't know, had no time limitations on battle passes, it would be so much nicer. You could purchase the battle pass whenever you wanted, and you could have as much time as you needed to unlock all the content. That would be much more acceptable, but nobody does that because obviously that would make them less money. Ugh. The amount you have to play for it to get value is really predatory because of time commitment. Exactly. This is where predatory starts entering the conversation. Battles 2 has done the exact same thing. You can buy all past seasons content for higher than the battle pass. And there you go. It's such an easy method of jacking up the price, right? Ooh, okay. All right, first off, I think it's pretty acceptable that pay to play is all the way down here alongside NFTs, because paying to play a game, let alone to win or own it, that is just so egregious. That's definitely going all the way down. Like, it's absurd to even have that kind of concept. You have to pay to even play the game. Like, there was a game that just came out that tried that model, and it was just so awful. I can't remember what it was. It was like almost a year ago at this point, but... Okay, let's go through what we have. In-game currency for money. All right, this is kind of the same argument alongside loot boxes and whatnot. This is the Rocket League system, right? You have to pay for the keys to open the loot boxes. And for the currency, that's like, that's World of Warcraft. You buy WoW tokens for subscription time. You know, you have to pay for... And it becomes something you can trade in-game. Oh, what a terrible decision that was for Blizzard. Want me to move Battle Pass? Where do you think I should put it? Nothing turns me away from a game more than you ran out of energy to buy more. Oh, yes. Okay, so let's talk about that. Locked or limited playtime. This is the Harry Potter mobile game situation. Holy moly. I forget what it's called. I honestly do. But Harry Potter came out with a mobile game that you you played for as much time as you can, and then almost every player that played it got stuck at the same part. Everyone got stuck in the middle of being attacked by the big plant monster, and says, oh, you've run out of energy, pay more for currency for time to play, or just wait 10 hours. Devil Snare, that's what it was, yeah. And it's like, that is such a manipulation. Like, how dare you lock behind my playtime against such an egregious problem? Like, Clash of Clans has a better system because there is still stuff to do even while you're waiting on other things. Yeah, it takes 24 hours to upgrade this base, but once you have it, it's that much better, right? It's kind of an upgrade system, and the value scales with it. But when you have just a straight up pay $10 for, 24 hours of playtime, it's like, how dare you? Hogwarts Mystery, yes, I think that's correct. So let's go ahead and put this at 7 for now. Just because it's clearly worse. Because that's actually limiting your playtime. That's Star Wars Battlefront 2 to a degree. In order to earn currency to unlock the loot boxes, you had to play a certain amount of time per day, and then it would stop you. And it would say, you've earned as much currency as you can for the day. You'll have to earn more currency tomorrow. That's a currency limitation. It's like, but I want to play more. I want to play more Star Wars. I want to earn more currency, but you're actually going to limit the amount I can earn in this time. How dare you? I'm going to add a little caveat to that. Resource lot. Yeah, limited playtime or resource. Or, yeah, limited playtime or resource. Ooh. Clash does it best because the army training is so short. You can train an army twice, and they sell potions that are super easy to get that boost training speed times. Right, exactly. They add more things that you can boost the training for to make it go faster. It's a whole little economy system. It still does it, but it's like the lowest degree of this category. It's like a super outlier for predatory. Yeah. Like, people will say, well, mobile games are all predatory, and I like to remind them, it's like, well, if you're selling $20 for something, sure, but again, these are microtransactions, and they are giving you the out in this case. Like, you can wait the amount of time you need. Is that uncool? Yeah, it is kind of uncool, but it's a free-to-play game. So it's kind of understandable why they would do that. You put this in a $60 premium game, and I'm going to light your company on fire. EA. That's what happened to Battlefront 2, right? And it's like, it's annoying, and it's definitely not super acceptable, but it is understandable. And I think that's why this is a good spot to put it. Like, it's definitely got some problems, but it's definitely also got some good stuff going for it and some reason for it. I just thought of something. Pay to unlock different parts of the game. Interesting. Can you cite an example? Am I out of water already? God, I've been drinking so much water recently. Oh my God. I've started drinking less soda, because my blood pressure was really scary the other day. But now I'm just going through water too damn fast. Map editor and BTT6. Okay. I get what you mean. Maybe not the direct example, because obviously I haven't played that. But Locking functions of a game behind a paywall. We'll need a good example though. That kind of falls in the DLC category to a degree, because it's like, hey, we've added a new feature to the game. Here, it's like an expansion to the game, like Dead Cells. Like, it's basically the same game, but we have all this other type of content you have to play, but you have to pay for the expansion to do it. I would say that's kind of DLC. And I think that's acceptable, because you're adding new features to the game. If they weren't there to begin with, and you're adding them later, that's totally acceptable. When it becomes a problem is if you start the game and then lock something behind paywalls. It's like, hey, we just came out with this new game. It's got a wonderful crafting feature. All you have to do is pay $10 extra. Oh, that brings up another idea. Premium content. Like the premium edition. Oh, I'm going to add that. Premium content. How much would you pay for additional skins, for additional weapons or music, you know, or for stuff outside of the game, like a little model or a case or stuff like that? That's pretty cool sometimes. I think premium content is always a good idea. And if it's usually cosmetic or aesthetic and it's not too egregious, why not have that, right? I think that's really acceptable stuff. In fact, I would say it's just after paid game. Spines number 3, yeah. Like premium, like I'm never going to buy a premium version of like FF7, but I still think it'd be a cool idea. It's like, oh, I would really like that Cloud Strife model, and I would really like an experience boost, but I don't need it, right? I'd have to pay more for it. I'd rather just have the game. And this can get pretty bad, like Fallout was the perfect example. Like, oh god, the Fallout 76 premium content was horrendously done. It was, let's see, it was a crappy duffel bag that was not the material they advertised. It was vinyl instead of leather, or canvas, whatever it was. It was an okay mask that was pretty cheap, and then there was the Nuka-Cola that tasted horrendous. It was so bad. It's like, that's a pretty bad value for premium content, but at the end of the day, you don't have to buy it. So I think 3 is a good level for it. So let me go ahead and update these other numbers. Okay. All right, let's start talking about pay to win. So pay to win is always everyone's least favorite item. That's where people get pissed when it crosses the line, because we're talking about, hey, we're giving you a camouflage suit that makes you harder to hit in Call of Duty, or we're giving you a suit that makes you blend in Fortnite, or in Battlefront, we're giving you straight up better characters, straight up power-ups, straight up more powerful versions of your character, and you can pay for it. That's pay to win. That is giving an advantage to players who are willing to buy it and screwing over the people who are not willing to buy it. And it's manipulating people by forcing them to purchase this content, because otherwise they won't be able to win the games. And that is such a line to cross. That, for sure, I don't know how far down the list it is yet, but once we've hit pay to win, we have for sure crossed the line of this can never be acceptable. Yeah, give us money, we'll give you 2 times as much HP as people who don't. Exactly. And then, you know, you come up with the argument that the freaking developers for Battlefront 2 gave. It's like, oh, we want to give you a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking these characters. All the while saying, oh, but you can just buy that sense of pride and accomplishment for $20. It's like, gross. So for now, I'm going to put this at like 10. Because I think that all of the items above it, the cosmetics, the loot boxes, and the in-game currency, are all kind of at the same level. It's like you're paying for something in the game. And so long as they are in-game assets for cosmetics and aesthetics, whatnot, they're all kind of the same item. But once you cross the line to pay to win in any regard, then you have officially become unacceptable. I think Battle Pass crosses the line between 6 and 7. Yeah, 7 is where it starts getting gross, right? It's where things can start getting really bad. Like, even free to play with purchases is still acceptable because it's like, yeah, it's free to play and we have all this stuff that's really overpriced, but you don't have to buy it. You don't have to. So I will say stuff about D&D, but I'll just do it next time. Okay, fair enough, Soup. Totally understandable. Nothing worse than losing game because your opponent spent more money. Yeah, exactly. It's such a dirty feeling. It's like, what's the point? Why bother playing? You get to a point where you don't even want to play anymore, and that's when you've lost all hope. All right, so we've got ads. Where should ads land? This is an interesting one, because obviously ads can be pretty egregious. But they also are kind of acceptable, right? We understand ads. We know that ads intrinsically are there to make money for the developers. So we're not super against ads, but we also don't like ads. No one likes ads. We tolerate them. So let's see. So it's kind of around the whole free-to-play with purchases area. And it can get pretty bad, like that whole 2K thing I was mentioning. Like, unskippable ads are like the worst. But we understand why they're there. So I'm not willing to put it anywhere below 7. I would say, is it worse or better than free-to-play with purchases? They're truly weird. Yeah, they really are. They're like, we know why they're there, and we can get so against them and yet so tolerant of them at the same time. Because ads in the paid game are acceptable. Yeah, exactly. Where you put the ad determines everything. And that's true for a couple of these items, like the cosmetics. If you're paying for cosmetics, hell no. If you're earning them for free, hell yeah. You know, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But let's put ads at, I'm going to put it at the same level as 6. And here's why. Because it's not inherently worse than free-to-play with purchases, because most of the time free-to-play with purchases have ads. Like I said, that's most mobile games have ads because that's how they make their revenue. Unless they have in-game purchases, then they mostly don't have ads. Right below subscription, yeah. Because it's less acceptable than a subscription model, but definitely better than a battle pass. But I can't put it above or below free-to-play with purchases, because it's like, okay, this is the price you have to pay to have free-to-play. It's the same thing as free-to-play with purchases. You can have a free-to-play game, but here's the price you have to pay to have it. Ads are in the exact same category. Have you seen the games I play on my mobile phone? No, in fact, I haven't. All right, so that leaves us with the dirty ones. Ugh. Pay to play and 11 and NFTs. I think everyone can agree NFTs are the worst. Like, holy crap. The very idea of NFTs is a scam. Like, there was a concept in there that was almost a good idea. It's like, oh, we'll give you something that is unique just to you. And you can pay to own that. And then you can do whatever you want with it. But no one ever implemented that idea. All they did was, okay, you have to buy this stupid helmet with a number on it. That was the only thing that was different. And you have to go through this scam of a system to own it in a game that you can earn all the other content for far easier and far cheaper. And NFTs are always super expensive, so what's the point in any case? You aren't even getting value for the NFT. There is no value to an NFT, and any value that is given is fake. So they're more pay to win than Fortnite skins and have more ads than Twitch and YouTube combined. That's really saying something. Team Fortress 2 trading is basically NFTs because they are numbered. Wow. That game has fallen off a cliff in terms of crossing the line in so many categories. It's hard to keep track. I wonder if you could make the argument if pay to play is worse than NFTs. Because NFTs, they're really bad. But to actually charge someone just to play the game every time you play it, that might even be worse. Let's put them both in 12. Just there is no 11. They're just both 12. It's all player driven. I don't think NFTs are the worst in terms of revenue because they're only cosmetic. That is true. I've never seen a NFT that was pay to win, ironically. Oh. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think this is just more egregious. Because it's such a baffling concept. Like, how dare you? I mean, you could sell an NFT that was pay to win. But I've never seen one. It's just such a scummy system. And to be fair, let's say you own an NFT. Once you have it, it's yours until you sell it again or whatever system's implemented. With pay to play, that's like, okay, you have to pay to play our game. Shift Windows S, right? Oh my god, that's such truth right there. Let me just screenshot this real quick. Now I own it. Oh, it's like the people who bought the 15-second clip of a player dunking in the NBA. It's like, I own this digital clip now. No, you don't. I'm just going to copy this right now. Now I own it. Congratulations. You paid $100 for something you don't own. That's the inherent nature of freaking digital content. Unless you protect it, it's going to be stolen. Okay. I think we have a pretty good list here. Free to play, paid game, premium content, DLCs, subscriptions, free to play with purchases, then ads in the same level because it's kind of the same discussion. And I think this is where we cross the line. I'm going to put that line right there. I think we're all in agreement here. Crossing the line into ick. once you start working with the season pass, you are genuinely trying to screw over your players. Like, at 6, there is still a level of, here is the game we have. You are free to do what you want with it, but we're also going to purchase, do this purchasing system so that you can do it. That's why Destiny, as bad as it is, well, Destiny 2, as bad as it is, as gross as it is, it's still free to play. So that's what made that system more acceptable. But then they started coming out with freaking season passes every month that locked behind all this content, and you had to pay $10 per freaking season, and it's like, screw you! How dare you! I'm done with you! I don't want to play this anymore. And that's where the line, I think, is crossed. Destiny 2 is like right on that line. They crossed over that line. They were at a 6, and then they became a 7, and no wonder they're going down the tube, right? Because once you cross the line, you lose people's trust so fast. And of course, the farther you go down the list, the more scumbag you are. Paying money for something I don't own is something I'm super pissed about with modern tech. Like, if I mess with my phone or goddamn toaster, oh my god, yeah, that's so dumb. I own this toaster. I own my phone. I'm not renting it from you. I'm renting the service from you. If I have this phone, I should be allowed to turn it into a freaking robot without losing the warranty. But no, they own all the rights to it, so. See, with buying something on my Switch I don't own. Yeah, and then we get into the conversation of, when you buy a game, do you own it, or are you just buying the license to play it? And that is a line we are starting to cross, and I really hope that we don't. Right? Because that is such a bad thing. I propose a category 13, Unity! Yes. Pay to download. That is the mythical level 13. Pay to download. What the hell? Just so it's there. See, that's how bad Unity's idea was. That's literally how bad it was. Whatever the hell Unity is trying to do. Right? That's such a good way to put it. AKA Unity. Oh my god. I should be allowed to turn my phone into a toaster and vice versa without putting a warranty. God, man. Wouldn't it be impressive if someone turned a toaster into a phone, or a phone into a toaster? You should give that guy money, not void his warranty. Oh, hi, Hunter. How's it going? Should I get involved in this? Well, to be fair, I think we're just about wrapping up the conversation. But if you have any thoughts on any of the lists, by all means. So basically, we've ranked the level of acceptability of monetization from most acceptable to least acceptable. And I think we've kind of determined where the line is that people are willing to accept. And that's around level 6. 6 and 7. Because once you cross into season pass territory, you are genuinely trying to screw over your audience, your player base. Because at that point, it's no longer about giving them content. It's about earning money at their expense. Because the argument is, all season passes do have great value. That's not into question. The problem is time. If you don't buy this pass when it's available, you don't get access to it. And if you don't put hundreds of hours into this pass, you're not unlocking all the content in this pass. And worst of all, if you miss the deadline to get all this content, all of that stuff is going to be sold to you later at a jacked up price through the store that they have. Which is just such a jacked way of doing it. And no matter what happens, you're still paying the down payment for the whole thing. $15 or $20 or however much it is. You pay the $15, you should get all the content, but you don't. You have to give $15 plus however much time it requires, and not everybody has that time. So there you go. And that's where I think it crosses over officially into predatory territory. Let's see. A good way of putting it, the line of revenue at the expense of the player. Exactly. Once you start costing them more than the value of your content or screwing them over in any regards, you have crossed the line. Seeing about free-to-play games, they're free-to-play at the start, but most of the time they end up paying money just because how relatively boring it's watching it. Exactly, and that's why we created caveats for that. We created the free-to-play category with purchases at 6, because that's kind of the agreement most people go into with free-to-play games. Hey, here's a free-to-play game, but here's all the stuff that comes with it at the expense of free-to-play. And that's why ads and free-to-play with purchases are in the same category. And then we came up with another caveat, is that everything on this list you have to pay for, because obviously you can argue that if you are earning in-game currency or cosmetics and aesthetics and loot boxes for free, in exchange for time, that's always acceptable. But when you have to pay for it, even in a free-to-play game, that's when it's like, ick, right? That's like, no way. The alert didn't pop up. Oh, I don't have alerts on the podcast. I totally forgot about that. My apologies, Sue. I'll go ahead and wear that fedora right now. Right now. Yes. That makes this all official. One thing about ads on YouTube is you get 2 ads and finish them and exit out of YouTube and come back, you might get 2 more. Yeah, that's always a bummer, isn't it? Like, YouTube's ad system is pretty egregious, but we tolerate it, right? Because we want that YouTube content. And there you go. All right, it is officially 5:44, which means I think we've just about hit an hour for the podcast. I think we've covered every level of monetization. And there's always, something else, and there's always degrees within it, right? I think we can all agree there are good loot boxes and there are bad loot boxes. But all in all, this is where things should stand, I think. And if anyone wants to add more to it, you can always, talk in the Discord. We can come back to this. But I think this is a pretty good breakdown of where we lie with monetization. And honestly, to any video game developer out there or anyone making video games, this is such a simple thing to understand that you are not understanding. We are sick of being taken advantage of. All of the things in 6 or above over here, they are totally acceptable. But anything after that, when you are taking advantage of us, we're not stupid. We know what you're doing. And most of the time, it's sad because they're not targeting us. They're targeting the whales. They're targeting the people that don't care that they're paying thousands of dollars or tens of thousands or God help me more on these games, because they have the money. They're rich. They don't care about this type of thing. And they're going to pay however much they want to get their damn ultimate team in FIFA. They're going to have Messi and Ronaldo on the same team. And they're going to pay hundreds of dollars to do hundreds of loot boxes. And FIFA knows that. So they target them. They make this system. And then they don't care about anything else. And then look at Fortnite. They know that the season pass system works. They keep doing it over and over and over again. And they're never going to stop. Because there are people that are going to buy it no matter how much it costs. And that really sucks. You have to build trust. And when you abuse that trust or ignore the player base completely, you are no longer a game developer. You're an ad company. You're just trying to sell a product with other things attached to it. You're an insurance salesman. You're a banker. You know, you're not selling video games. You're selling a way to play a casino. You're a casino. That's it. You are selling the right to pull that lever, and you're packaging it in a video game. Why don't you just move to Las Vegas and take advantage of the people there, you know? Just make it official. But I think we also understand that there is a level of monetization that is acceptable. And just so long as you're responsible with it, we understand. And there it is. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end things there. Obviously, there's always going to be different viewpoints and discussions upon this. It's just that we're so cynical about it nowadays. And it's hard to go through the whole thing in an hour, right? I've just become so cynical about this because we have been punished for this so many times at this point. It's become really bad. And it's just hard not to expect the worst from companies nowadays. But yeah, we will go ahead and end things there. I've got to make preparations for the next stream. We will be playing Terraria Legendary Multiplayer in about 42 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get some food, maybe some drink. Woo! I'll see you guys there. Thanks so much for hopping on with the podcast. Thank you all for your views and opinions. I very much appreciate them. And we will see you next time. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for taking part. And as always,